Hi, we're back. So Nicholas has some follow-up questions on what is it like after law school? Should you even pursue and be a lawyer? What does success look like? And more importantly, what if you are failing as an attorney? What do you do? And so these questions, they're raw, they're heavy, but they're very worthwhile and it's something very important to discuss about. And it's not easy. So hopefully you enjoy this video. Let's get started.
When we began this series, the most burning question I had was, why become an attorney in the first place? The profession faces high rates of depression, divorce, and dissatisfaction, and I don't want to spend my entire life practicing law if I'm not going to be happy with it. But you're an attorney, and you seem happy. What really drew you to becoming an attorney?
This was actually my backup plan. My first choice was actually to be a professor, like Professor Dumbledore, right? I love teaching. I love dealing with ideas. I thrive in the academic setting. The one reason why I chose to be an attorney over that was because of how relevant and practical it is to be an attorney. As great as it is to think about grand ideas and theories and pen poetic prose, it doesn't immediately solve problems and individual problems at that. I want to help people. I want to help them now. I want to help people's dreams come true. I want to help people's nightmares go away. What is the type of problem / legal problem you want to solve? What makes you happy? And the type of environment you want to be in, what kind of firm you want to be in, and how you want to develop your skill set. So it goes back to, who are you innately? Find out what you like to do, get into a particular program, a clerkship, internship, and see what it's like. And if you have the strength and the skill set to thrive in that environment, well, then you might have found something.
One of the broader distinctions I would like you to focus on is the difference between working in private versus public.
So one of the biggest difference between working in private and public is that in the private sector, and this applies not just in law, this applies to almost anything that's related to the government, is less bureaucracy, less regulation. If you see a change, you can immediately implement it and change it. It goes back to your temperament, your personality, your work style. Working in the public sector, you generally don't need to focus as much on customer service and customer satisfaction. Let's take, for example, the California Rent Relief Program. There's a lot of contractors and subcontractors of the government that went out, and they have terrible reviews. But you know what? They're the only ones that's doing it, so you can't, what are you gonna do, right? But in the private sector, man, if you got one bad review, well, then it becomes a company lockdown. Hey, what happened here? Why is this customer dissatisfied? Let's focus in on that, right? So, and I like that. I personally like the care, because that motivates everybody and improves the excellence.
As an attorney, what's your source of gratification?
It should not be money. I have to emphasize this, because if it is money, if it's wealth, if it's profits, you could make so much more elsewhere. Because being an attorney, the things that you do day in and day out, it's not scalable in a sense. Let me give you an example. I just did this big case. I helped this, this family's already a millionaire. All the advice and strategy and the business plan that I helped execute in the past 2-3 years probably made them over $10 million. Wow. And this is not scalable. I can't just instantly duplicate this to 50 other clients, to 1,000 clients, and suddenly just triple or quadruple the firm's wealth. We have this knowledge, I could share it, but in what sense? Maybe a consultation, might get paid another $250, yippee, right? This client just made $10 million. He could take what we created for them, they can replicate it 10 times and make $100 million. If you want to be profitable, make something that's scalable. There's so many careers and professions. You create an app, you just create more users and everybody pays you a monthly fee. That is extremely profitable. Being a lawyer, you are solving one problem at a time. You're taking on the sins of the world, different people giving you their problems and you're solving it. The ultimate gratification should therefore be linked to that. You find gratification in solving problems for these clients.
I want to make sure the audience knows you're not doing bad though, so let's clear that let's clear that up. Yes. But what you're saying is that the fulfillment for you ultimately comes in, you make an impact in people's lives and actually seeing like the fruits of your labor come and make a difference in the world. I would love to know what you believe success looks like as an attorney. More importantly, how do you measure success using your own standards and criteria?
One thing that I've learned is that people change. You change, and the environment you're in changes. And people who are typically attorneys and pursue law are all achievement oriented. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. And this is something I only very recently learned. If you're achievement oriented, you're constantly measuring, did I achieve what I wanted to achieve? And therefore, do I deserve happiness? And can I be happy? And you're constantly doing that. I think you really need to understand that there's different ways to be happy. And if you are purely achievement oriented, you might find yourself to be very sad later on in life because all you did was to look at happiness through one paradigm. How should you measure success as an attorney? Ultimately, it goes back to you. And I think the more important takeaway is don't let other people's definition affect you. If the firm that you're at, all they're measuring is profitability and they're pushing that on you, and because you're not as profitable, don't let them make you feel inferior because maybe you're not at the stage of profitability. You're still at the stage of growth. And that should be okay. And they should understand, and you should understand.
This brings me to my next question. We've just talked about success, but I think it's important for ourselves and for the audience that we actually address the topic of failure. And what do you do to pull yourself out of that rabbit hole?
Life is too short and too long to stick by a bad decision, right? It's too short because you don't know when you're gonna go. And it's too long because if you made the wrong decision, you're gonna be stuck with it for a long time. So definitely pivot and make the right choice. Counseling, I think, is so important. Not because the counselors are gurus or prophets, but because they are a good listening ear and they're able to understand and ask you questions for you to understand yourself. And when you understand, oh wow, my entire metric is based on just one factor, and that might be too naive, and there's these other things that broaden my mind. I think that's super important. It is a profession of high stakes.
Yes.
It is a profession of high stakes, and it comes with a lot of stress. It comes with a lot of pain because you are taking the stress and the pain, and that's what the profession calls for. But with that comes the glory, right? With that comes when you win the case for your client, when you help them through a difficult thing, when you help the client make the 10 million he wouldn't have otherwise made. That feeling of achievement, that feeling of that profound understanding of your capability now, that's why I went through profession. And it comes with the stress, but it's a necessary evil. It's the people in the ring, right, that ultimately wins the fight. And it's not just the people who are spectating, right? Anybody who could hear a problem say, oh, that sounds like a difficult issue. Maybe you should consult an attorney, right? Everybody says that. Well, who's the attorney, right? Who's the actual person taking on this problem and solving it and making it happen? You are.
That was a very emotionally heavy section, and it was nice to actually see you be genuine in your answers and really break down your own life experiences and be vulnerable with myself and the audience. And yeah, it's very much appreciated. Thank you.